Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Abstract Life Podcast. Once again, I am your host, Austin Willis, and we made it. We're in week 2 of the new year. I myself am feeling good. Some obstacles along the way, that's part of life, but we're here, we're growing. I hope you guys are having a good start to the new year, feeling good, approaching the goals, writing them down, building the foundations that you need to achieve everything that you desire. Today's podcast, we're going to talk simply on that, building the foundation. What does that foundation look like going into this new year to really achieve your goals, and not only achieve your goals, but help others achieve theirs, or just simply supporting their goals in an authentic way that is beneficial. I think many times we have this idea of what support looks like. So just like in the last episode, we're going to talk about grace, of how we can approach that and build foundation for ourselves and those around us. So one thing I've been doing this year, and to really try to build that foundation and really just support my friends in their creative process, but also looking forward to more collaboration, being open to learning from one another and coming up with ideas that we never expected. Having those open conversations to really just explore the limitless possibilities that is out there. That's why, for me, along with this podcast, I started the Abstract Life Discord. I'm really excited for that. So far, we have about 40 people that join. Really thankful for all of them. Some really good friends, some people that I've never met or talked to that have found me through social media. So I'm really excited to build in there. We dive into anything, whether you're a fine artist, whether you're a photographer, whether you're a music artist. It's a space for all creatives to come, kind of just hang out. The main room is called the living room, right? And it's just giving that energy to where it's like you're hanging out with the friends and you're coming up and bouncing ideas off. Or you can hop into the studio rooms, so-called, and you can talk specifically to other artists that are in your discipline and really just game up each other. I personally have seen, and I myself am working on with a few other artists in that space to come up with some collaborative projects, and I'm really excited for that. Really excited to build. So Discord link will be in the description of the podcast. Definitely check it out. I hope you join. Programming some things. We want to start doing live streams of people through their editing process or their beat making process, Q&As. We want to do like community town halls, where we can really just elevate throughout the year together as a community and as individuals. So really looking forward to that. So along with communities, like, how do we create this space? How do we create a communal effort to where the space feels symbiotic, number one, to where everyone is feeling that they're engaged and they're desired and wanted for their knowledge and their creative integrity and voice. How do we create that space in an authentic manner to where it doesn't feel transactional? And it, honestly, in my opinion, right, it's just time. It's like having the honest interest in someone for their work and getting to know them for who they are as a person and why their creative voice is growing in the manner that it is. So that's what, like I said, that's what the Discord's for. That's just what conversation is for, right? Having honest conversation to where just being curious about someone, just how you are curious in your own practice, to dive deeper into learning, color grading, or learning certain technical terms of whatever practice you're in, going to museums to see another master painter's work and learning that way. It's just having that curiosity to hold honest conversation and not feeling, so many times I think we feel discouraged of like asking people about their process or like asking questions, because like sometimes we have that complex. It's like, oh man, like I don't want to seem like I don't know enough or I don't know what I'm talking about. But it's like, in all honesty, it's like sometimes we don't know what we're talking about. So just having the vulnerability and the curiosity to open up and be like, hey, like I really like your work. I see what you're doing. Can you tell me a little bit more of like why you're building it on top of this platform, or why you approached marketing and rolling it out in this direction, or why did you use those materials? Because honestly, as an artist, at least for me, I love that. I love when someone wants to dive into the process, because it's something that gets overlooked so often. So many times, whether it's social media, whether it's YouTube, whether it's a film that we're watching on TV, we see the end product but not the behind the scenes. And for me as a person, that's usually the thing I'm questioning the most, right? When I watch a film, I'm over here like, oh, why did they choose this lighting? Why they do, why did the main character have this style of wardrobe to accent this? Like, why did the camera swoop in from the left instead of the right? Why did they frame it like this? Like, I'm always asking those questions because I'm curious of why the thought process was to emphasize the creative voice. Why was it approached in that way to, give a certain element to what the director or just artists in general had in mind? So asking those questions, being honest, and being okay with just like, you're not gonna know. You're not gonna know unless you ask, right? So it's like, that's how we grow, that's how we remain curious. And I think going into that curiosity is one thing I've seen recently, and had a conversation within the Discord and among friends, and I've been involved in since 2020 now, is the whole idea of NFTs, right? So I want to talk a little bit on that and just kind of give my 2 cents and opinion on it, especially being from a unique background of being a photographer, but also having a background in graphic design, and now mainly focusing within fine art and abstract painting. Like I said, I've been in this space for almost 2 years now that we're in 2020. Fall of 2022. God, I keep on saying 2020. That's how you know I'm behind. We're in 2022 and I keep on saying 2020. But anywho, back to the topic at hand. NFTs, I think the possibilities are amazing. I think the idea of decentralization, and as I'm still learning, has the possibilities to shift so much dynamic. In my honest opinion, we're still in like Web 2.5 because there is a lot of gatekeeping and there is a lot of privilege that comes along with getting into this space, whether it's financial backing to be able to launch your projects on the main blockchain like Ethereum and really push it and roll it out, whether it's the privilege of time. People have day jobs, people don't have the luxury of having the time to be on Twitter, which is most of the NFT culture, and really diving into the spaces and building that community, or just learning, right? Having the knowledge to kind of dive into it because it's changing rapidly, nonstop, and there's a lot to learn, right? But it is also very alluring because you see people selling their images or their now music's really popping. So you're seeing music artists sell their music videos for thousands of dollars, and a lot of upcoming artists, it's a golden ticket. It's like, wow, like I can have a chance to put the content that I've been making out anyways and retain ownership over all of it, but also have the financial backing to change my life, right? So it's like, it's so easy to fall into that allure or question, or when you are in this space, feel overwhelmed because you start seeing work that isn't what you thought it would be, or not to the same production value or whatever it may be of your own work, and start questioning your own creative integrity, right? So it's like, how do I balance that creative integrity? How do I stay true to myself within this new space? Because it is rapidly changing, right? And I had this struggle as well too. Like I said, because I have a background in multiple disciplines, I question myself, right? And with being a painter in this space and fine art not really having a breakthrough within the NFT space, I'm like, okay, maybe I start doing more graphic design work and start doing more illustration and putting that out there and having the opportunity to make money that way. And I was looking at it from a financial standpoint, which is fine. I think some people will have that opportunity. Some people will be very successful at it. But I was questioning my own creative integrity and my voice of where I was in this present moment in my life, and trying to force myself to create another way for the potential outcome, and falling into that lure. And then there was a point to where, I've been blessed to sell to NFTs and have that experience, and it is a very high endorphin and a very pleasure. It's like when you sell your work or anything, and it's just like there's a high that comes with it. It's like, wow, I sold my work. Someone believed in me to do that, whether it's a friend, whether it's someone whether it's someone anonymous completely. That's the thing about the NFT space. So many people that are anonymous and live anonymously in that space. And I had to question my own integrity. And there was a point to where I rolled out some paintings and some NFTs, and there is a huge kind of like taboo, I guess, to like say like, don't burn your NFTs ever. Like, let them sit. Someone will find them eventually. You'll sell them as long as you're in the space and supporting the community. But I had to sit with myself, right, as an artist and question how I was approaching it, because it wasn't the fact that I put my paintings out there as NFTs, because I think there is a very long game into how NFTs will shift the art market for fine artists in terms of royalties, secondhand sales, but also just being able to track your work and see who's owning it or authenticating it. But that's a whole different conversation. That's for another time. Hop in the Discord. We can talk about it anytime. Hit me up on social media. Would love to give my 2 cents on that. I always have a thought. But I had a question because it was like, is this where I am currently, or am I just going this route to try staying true to myself for where I am in my creative voice right now, but also just being present in this space, right? And I had to sit with myself with that because I'm like, I'm happy being a fine artist in this space, even if the fine artist isn't getting their shine, and it might not get their shine for a long time, or it could happen tomorrow. That's the craziness of the space, right? But I had to sit with it, and I was like, am I happy with how I'm approaching this? And I was like, no, I'm not happy with how I'm approaching this, just because I didn't feel like it was the best interpretation of my work, or giving the value of all the work that I put into making these paintings and giving the story to that. And I had to come to a conclusion that I was like, I'm gonna burn these pieces because I don't feel like they are true to the voice that I'm trying to give in this space, and true to my voice that I'm trying to portray within these works that I spent countless hours, emotions, breakdowns, frustration into putting them into. So I had to rethink that strategy. I'm still rethinking that, having ideas and how I want to approach it to be a fine artist in that space. But to kind of end that rant and kind of loop it back is just take your time, right? And this is within the NFT space, this is with just an artist as well. It's like so many times we question our creative integrity and try to force ourselves to create in different ways of the idea of opportunity, right? But it's like, you don't have to, right? Trust yourself, trust your integrity, trust your voice and where it's at presently. Trust in finding the balance that works best for you, whether that is taking a break. You know, some people can work nonstop. I have some friends that work like mad dogs and literally working all the time. And I'm like, yo, take a break, because I want them to, you know, take a break. They deserve a break. They'd be going crazy. But also understanding it's not my place to tell them when their break is, because they know their voice and they know their body and they know how their mind works in terms of their own burnout and whatnot. And they're seeking balance just as well. So it's like they're exploring that whether I see it or not. So it's like trusting your friends and their voice and just supporting in the ways that you can show up, in the ways that they express that they need or may not need. Maybe it's just something that you see that they gravitate towards you when you do it, whether it's just, pulling up just to, check on them, whether it's just tapping in every now and then to check on them, whether it's being like, hey, did you eat today? Like, I'm grabbing food in the area, you want something too? Like, I'll drop it by. Whatever it is, just supporting in the way you can to, because you want to see your homie succeed as well too, because, man, I'm trying to be at the top with all my homies. When my homies are succeeding and I don't have something coming up, I'm like, all right, I gotta get back to work, because I'm trying to be right there with my homies, and vice versa. Like, if I have an opportunity comes up and I have the opportunity to put a homie on, I want to do the same thing. Like, oh, say I got booked for a photo shoot and there's an opportunity for the client to want video too, be like, oh, I got these two homies that do video. Maybe I already know how they work, I vouch for them, cool, let's bring them in. Cool, now I got a homie eating as well. Right, so just creating that community, creating the foundation to support in authentic ways that don't feel forced for yourself, feel forced on other people, and just staying true to that integrity, staying true to your intuition and the intention that you have just going forward. And I think that's the biggest lesson I want for this episode, is just trusting your intention, right? Trusting your intuition to just go at your own pace and not feel rushed based on the desire of opportunity that is approaching. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity coming in 2022 for all of us. I think as long as you're doing the work you need and being intentional about it and being consistent, I think all of us are going to get a lot of opportunity to shine, and we're going to be cheering for yourself and a lot of your homies, and we're all going to win. And I believe that. I really believe we're all going to win this year, as long as you're staying true to yourself and being present with yourself, being compassionate with yourself, being compassionate towards others, being upfront with others, being honest, being truthful about your state of mind, and just knowing you don't have to, like I said, you don't have to force anything. Take your time and just do the work. Do the work for yourself, do the work for your craft, show up for your friends and support them so they can do it. And just being open to the possibilities. We're limitless. This year provides endless opportunities for us. Just take your time, build those foundations, build those relationships, stay true, be loving, be compassionate. And yeah, that's kind of it. That's kind of my rant for today. Hopefully I gave a perspective that you can grow with. I'm growing with this, like I said in the last episode. Everything I share in this podcast is something I'm thinking about and trying to learn with as well, and finding that intention. So peace and love to you guys. I will tap in with you next episode. Like us, follow, subscribe, comment. It helps out. You can follow me on social media at studio.austinwillis, Twitter at studio_AW. Discord link will be in the description, like I said. We have coffee if you want to donate to the podcast and support us in production value. Also aiming to do a community grant so I can start awarding other people in the community. The goal is for $500 a month. Once we get to that point, just to support other creators in the community and their projects, or just getting through a rough time if they're having a rough time in life, because we all have it, right? And we're all just trying to support and we're all trying to grow. So like I said, like, subscribe, follow. Peace and love. I will talk to you guys soon, and yeah, hope you have a good year.